Becoming the goal before reaching it. We often ask ourselves the wrong question. Most of us start by wondering, what do I need to do to achieve my goals? We draw up plans, schedules, and strategies, tasks to be completed, milestone to be reached. But that's not the first question we should be asking. The real question, the one that changes everything, is who do I need to become in order to achieve the kind of goals I have set in my mind or in my heart? There was a time when I chased goals with desperation. I treated them like destination, forgetting that the journey itself was doing something far more important than giving me a prize. It was making me eligible to carry the weight of what I've always wanted. You see, goals don't just bend to the will of our desires. They gravitate towards our identity. They recognize who we've become, not what we want. And when you finally begin to embody the vision, not just remember or memorize it like a mantra, but live it, breathe it, walk it, you begin to notice something wild and beautiful. The things you once chased begin to surround you. They begin to know you. They begin to recognize you. They begin to look for you. They begin to recognize themselves worthy. They begin to recognize themselves privileged to even stick with you. Man, I'm talking those very milestones, those peak hours, those recognitions, and they begin to like sticking around you, you see. Opportunities begin to orbit you. Circumstances begin to align, not because you're lucky, but because you're ready. It's not pressure anymore. It's not a grind. It's a resonance. It's alignment. The life you've built inwardly now draws its outward match, and then comes into interaction with the person you've become, with the monster that you've become. Because life, man, it really is looking for creatures that are built in the grind. You see, the process transforms and reforms a certain caliber of people that this life likes, that this life has never seen. And life is really fair to understand and to reward those kind of people. There was a version of me that thought it was about rewards, about money, trophies, achievements, applause. But now, standing close enough to touch some of those very things, I find that they don't carry the same weight I imagined they would. They are just objects, man. Symbols, representation of a journey that is far more sacred than what they can ever signify. No award, no recognition can ever compare to the nights I stayed awake dreaming, to the internal battles I fought silently, to the growth no one saw but God. You see, man, I can never trade anything for this journey, for these experiences, for these encounters. I say, at first they really didn't appear as much. In fact, I taken them for granted. You see, if given to choose, I wouldn't choose them. You see, that loneliness, I never saw anything beautiful in it till I understood, man, that the deepest, insightful moments I ever resonated deeply with. You see, reflections and imaginations that I meditated through space and time, just in that very unbelievable moment. The truth is, I no longer treasure the rewards as much as I treasure the person I've become, because what I've gained in the process can't be bought, stolen, or taken. It can be undone. You see, life is not about getting somewhere. It's not about receiving certain things. Jesus Christ, when He saved us, He said we can begin now experiencing the kingdom. It's not getting to heaven and then securing yourself there emptily. No, God wants us to adventure. He wants us to open up. He wants us to go, man, into the very depths. Man, don't just judge the book by its cover. We're standing on the surface. We don't want to dive into these things. Man, this thing looks scary. It looks dark. How do you want me to get in here? You don't understand the person you will become if you can just say, let's get in. That is why oftentimes he really doesn't have to explain all the details to us, because if he can do so, he can scare us away from what we want ourselves. I like it when he says in the Bible, we ourselves don't know what we want. My man, because we don't understand who we are. He actually says that. So what can we ask? What can you really dictate? It's good to find yourself already rolling. It's good to find yourself already fighting battles you never signed for. Because if you entered seeing what you are up against for, you wouldn't have fought, you wouldn't have stood your ground. You wouldn't have come into terms with this beauty. This is something, man. And I'm looking at God now. Thank God that it's now behind me. It's now in the past, you see. Just the collection of the growths the hits that I've taken. Just having an understanding of, oh, this is the reason why I had to go down that road. Oh my God. This is the reason why I had to sometimes starve in this way. I had to sometimes struggle in this way. It didn't make sense at first. Now I'm having an understanding that this person is surely a loving God. I was there shouting, complaining unstoppably, saying, what kind of a God allows me to go through all these things? Man, the promise was so simple and so direct. We'll meet each other on the other side. But you didn't tell me that I'll go through such things. The storms, you didn't tell me. Why wouldn't a heads up? Just a heads up would have done it. So I'm one person just there, not understanding the person I'm interacting with, the person I'm at work with here. But now I'm here understanding that you are surely a loving God. You understood that this is what will really make me so happy. Right now I have this joy that no one can take away from me. This peace that I cannot trade with anything else. Man, they can take away the trophies, the achievements, the awards, the money, everything else. All the people, you see, whatever the perfect car, the dream house, you can just take it all and leave me with these treasures that I've accumulated, with these DNA that I've forged, this resilience that I've become. You see, now I embody that competence such that I'm just there relaxed, knowing that I don't have to run after jobs knocking in every door. No, the competency itself will bring them to me and say, this is a guy to stick with. So I'm being too excited because it is really something. This entire process has made me reflect on something even deeper, the Christian walk. Let's dive into it, folks. We're told that if we follow God, we're headed somewhere that will inherit the kingdom, find peace, live in purpose. And yet, most of the time, it doesn't feel like that. Most of the time, the Christian life feels like a paradox, full of struggles we never anticipated, filled with battles we never volunteered for. We fight temptations, doubts, sins, and emotional storms we don't even understand. We battle spiritual confusion, deep disappointments, and hidden insecurities. And at times we look around and say, this is not what I was promised. But here is what I've come to understand. It's not just about where we're headed. It's about who we're becoming along the way. God didn't call us merely to give us a destination. He called us into a transformation. And the tension, the fire, the frustration we experience is not a sign that we're lost, but that we're being forged. You see, at this point, just leave me. Just pack your things and go, man. What do you want from me? And when you finally arrive, when you finally meet the person you always meant to become, you look back and say, thank you, God. Not just for the promise, but for the process. Man, mainly for the process. You realize that even every storm, every tear, every delay had a divine purpose. Man, this orchestration is beyond imagination, is beyond comprehension. Or dealing with the great of all here. It wasn't to harm you, it was to prepare you. And what's even more beautiful, you'll discover that the real miracle wasn't what you came to have. It was what was happening to you. That was the greatest miracle. So many resources were wasted in making you the person that you are. So this is my reflection. Dreams will shape you. Goals will stretch you. Faith will refine you. We set out with dreams in our eyes, crystal clear visions of that ideal job, the dream house, the perfect car, the career that will make everything fall into place, the relationship that will finally feel like home. We marked them on vision boards to etch them into journals, whispered them in midnight prayers, and so we walked. With fierce intention, with steady focus, eyes glued to the summit. But life had its own curriculum. It didn't hand us the dreams in their packaged form, neatly wrapped with our names on them. No, it took us through zigzags and detours, through valleys that looked nothing like our prayers, and mountains that echoed with silence when we needed answers. And somewhere along the way, through heartbreaks we didn't schedule, rejections we didn't deserve, and lessons we didn't sign up for, life handed us something more precious than what we had imagined. Depth, character, substance, soul. We were looking at the door marked success, but life led us through back alleys of failure, frustration, and unexpected redirections, only for us to discover treasures we would have never stopped to notice. We would have never stopped to notice had everything gone as planned. Spontaneity taught us to love in uncertainty. Adversity introduced us to strength we didn't know we had. Detours gave us encounters that changed us more than destinations ever could. And struggle stripped us down, then rebuilt us with blocks of authenticity, bold of endurance, bold of resilience. In the beginning, our eyes were fixed on what we thought would fulfill us. But life, in its mysterious and often merciless genius, used that very focus to train us. We became students of the unexpected, disciplines of divine detours. And the truth is, if someone had sat down and said, here is how it's going to turn out, you'll be broken before you're built. You'll be lost before you're found. You'll cry over doors you beg God to open, only to thank Him later that they stayed shut. We might have never started. We will have flinched. We will have said, not me. Over my dead body, I'm not getting in there. We will have declined the invitation. But life capitalized on our ambition. Life capitalized on our oblivion. It took our dreams and used them as a bait to lead us into something much more deeper than achievement. Transformation. Now standing here, trophies or not, we hold in our hands something weightier, something heavier, something much more precious than material gain. We hold experience, we hold resilience, we hold stories that we can tell nights and nights and nights. We've met people we never planned to meet, lived through moments we never imagined surviving, and became versions of ourselves that could never have been forced in ease. So yes, we still value the dreams, but we now know that dreams were never the destination. They were just the starting point. The real gold was hidden in the journey, the becoming, the unbecoming, the rebecoming, the beauty that bloomed after things fell apart. And now we no longer chase the outcome blindly. We walk with open hearts, knowing that sometimes what we didn't apply for becomes the classroom where our soul graduates. So the job, the car, the house, the partner, maybe we get there, maybe we don't, but we now understand something far greater. What life gave us in place of what we wanted was what we actually needed all along.